It has now been about 3.5 hours since they announced that George Zimmerman, and I'm sure everybody know who he is by now, is going to be brought in and charged on second-degree murder. Before I play the clip that I saw on MSNBC, I just want to make a few comments on this. Came down about George Zimmerman tonight. Somebody tampered with a sign outside of Detroit, and the key word is outside of Detroit. Some of you may have heard about that. Well, you know, who knows if that was somebody trying to be cute or trying to be jokey, try to be funny. Haha, look what I did. But one thing I would like to get off my chest is that it always bothers me about people like that they are very strategic in where they always plan to do things like that. You ever notice that the people who put on the sign Trayvon Martin is a bleep? Did you notice that you didn't hear that the sign was in Detroit? You know, that it wasn't off Joy Road and Southwood Freeway, or it wasn't on, Dexter and Linwood, or, over somewhere on the east side off Bobian or somewhere. You ever notice that it's never like in the heart of a city where there's a lot of black people at, that the people decide to do things like this? They always pick the rural area, someplace where they won't be seen and they can kind of do it in the dark. Anyway, I'm not gonna go on a long tangent about that. I just want to get my thoughts about George Zimmerman tonight, and I just pray that justice is done, whatever it is. I pray that the good Lord will reveal the truth, and we'll just let justice do its job.
Tonight, George Zimmerman, the armed neighborhood watch volunteer who shot an unarmed teenager named Trayvon Martin after a scuffle, has been charged with murder in the second degree. He has been free, released by police in Sanford, Florida. He was not arrested until just late today. After weeks of protest and national attention, the case of Trayvon Martin has now entered a decidedly new phase. Our team is in place, and we begin our coverage of this still unfolding tonight with NBC's Kerry Sanders in Florida. Kerry, good evening.
Good evening. The special prosecutor has charged George Zimmerman with second-degree murder. George Zimmerman, 28 years old, was taken into custody. According to the special prosecutor, he turned himself in to the Federal Department of Law Enforcement. There was no issue in the fact that he was taken into custody. He is going to eventually be brought here within the next 24 hours to Sanford, to the Seminole County Court, where he will be read the charges officially and will also have his first appearance where he can ask for a bond to be released from jail. This is what Angela Corey had to say just a few minutes ago.
Today we filed an information charging George Zimmerman with murder in the second degree. A capias has been issued for his arrest. With the filing of that information and the issuance of a capias, he will have a right to appear in front of a magistrate in Seminole County within 24 hours of his arrest, and thus formal prosecution will begin.
Special Prosecutor Angela Corey says if Zimmerman suggests he did nothing wrong because of Florida's Stand Your Ground law, she will fight that vigorously. Meantime, Zimmerman's new attorney now says he's concerned about his client getting a fair trial.
He's concerned about getting a fair trial and a fair presentation. There's obviously been a lot of information flowing. I think a lot of it's been both premature and maybe inappropriate. I don't think a case like this should be tried here, and it's not going to be.
Defense attorney Mark O'Mara says when Zimmerman is arraigned on the charges, he will plead not guilty. Brian?
All right, Kerry Sanders starting off our coverage from Sanford, Florida tonight. Kerry, thanks.